Right, so the confusion regarding the iPhone SE4 continues because Ross Young now tells us we could see OLED and also display smaller than 6.1 inches, and so let's delve into it. So initially many of us wanted the SE4 to be based on the 13 mini, but of course there was a flurry of reports suggesting that would not be the case and we would see the iPhone XR body instead. And Ross Young was sort of agreeing with this at one point, but now clarifies that no, this actually might not be the case, and we could see Apple go in a completely different direction for the SE4 instead. So Ross Young essentially says that Apple's considering different options, and they could either go with a 6.1 inch OLED, similar to the iPhone 14 from two different suppliers, or of course going down the LCD route and giving us a display ranging from 5.7 inches to 6.1 inches from two other suppliers. So yeah, two very diverse panels, and out of those choices, I think Apple's going to go down the LCD route. And why I think this is because a 6.1 inch OLED on the SE would of course absolutely cannibalize the regular model. So yeah, since the iPhone 12 we've had a 6.1 inch OLED on the regular flagship iPhone, and so of course giving that to the SE kinda makes no sense, since you would be getting the same display tech for a much lower price. Now there is a chance that by the time we see the SE4 we do get Pro Motion on the 6.1 inch iPhone, which of course could be enough to justify the premium. We could also see of course higher brightness, and so those advantages could differentiate the regular 6.1 inch iPhone, but to be honest, I just don't see Apple giving us the same display size and the same display tech the flagship iPhones use. And so yes, Apple sticking to LCD for the SE makes sense, but also the display size Ross Young mentions, 5.7 inches, that sounds pretty great. Because a big worry of mine with the XR body is of course it being too big for those who like the SE. Now yes, I know the SE's purpose is to be cheap, not necessarily to be a small phone, but of course with Apple no longer offering the mini in the flagship series, I think it would be nice for the SE to be the mini offering in the lineup instead. And it would actually work in favour for Apple because we know the mini is ultimately a niche product and Apple wants to upsell you to the higher end models, and so the SE being a small phone that of course isn't going to appeal to a lot of consumers makes sense for Apple since they can upsell you to the flagship series. Now yes, I know you may be wondering, 5.7 inches, that's not a size option we've ever got. Well yeah, that is a fair point, and it's the only thing stopping me from completely believing this report. Now yes, I know we did have 5.8 inch iPhones, and so Apple could give that slightly thicker bezels and give us a 5.7 inch SE based on that, but as I've said in previous videos, Apple does only reuse designs that are still in production for the SE. So of course, the SE1 was based on the 5S, the SE2 was based on the iPhone 8, and these were still being sold. And yeah, even the iPad 10 that was recently announced was rumoured to be a hybrid design that of course had flat sides and the iPad 9 front, but Apple took the cheaper route and just recycled the iPad Air chassis instead that they were already mass producing. And so the last 5.8 inch iPhone was the 11 Pro, which of course has not been produced for years, and the same goes for the XR, that also has not been produced for years. And so yeah, once again, like I've said in previous reports, the SE being based on the 13 mini does make sense, since Apple does still produce that. And actually I guess that's why a 6.1 inch OLED could make sense, because Apple does still produce that. So yeah, maybe Apple's actually going to consider that, but there are definitely going to be major caveats, similar to what we saw with the iPad 10. And in fact, if we do get a 6.1 inch OLED, I'm sure this will get a lot more expensive, and I can now see it being $500. Now I'm hoping that's not the case, and we see the 5.7 inch LCD instead, and in fact maybe there is a chance Apple can reuse the iPhone SE 3 shell, but of course give us an all-screen display on the front instead. Since do remember the 5.8 inch iPhone was very similar in size to the SE and the iPhone 8, so maybe there is a chance Apple does reuse the SE3 body, but of course, give us a display with a notch on the front. Now regarding the release, Ross Young does once again tell us it's going to be in 2024, not 2023, like of course some reports have suggested, And that's a shame, but then again, this does make sense. The SE's never been an annual refresh. For example, the SE1 to the SE2 was 4 years, and then the SE2 to the 3 was 2 years, and so yeah, don't expect yearly refreshes. Anyways, let's delve into your questions. So Fast Fizzy says, I would love it as the 10R design, mini design would just be too small, and this is actually what Apple wants in my opinion, because as I said, we know the mini is ultimately a niche product, and Apple wants to upsell you to the higher end models, and so the SE being a small phone that of course isn't going to appeal to a lot of consumers makes sense for Apple since they can upsell you to the flagship series. So Vedraj says, iPhone 11 would be awesome, I'd really want a wide angle camera, and this I don't see happening because once again Apple wants to upsell you to the higher end models, and so they're going to give you the bare minimum with the SE, so of course expect the same main sensor from the SE3 and nothing else. So DeJorde says, I think they'll release it in March 2023. Now this I would love to see, but as I said, Apple does not do yearly refreshes for the SE, so I doubt this. I think a 2024 release makes more sense. So Hawk says 10R was a good phone, the SE4 should remain with a single lens on the back. That 48 megapixel from the iPhone 14 would be great. Now with the A16 Bionic it would be a blast. 10R on steroids. Now personally I have my doubts the SE4 is gonna get the 48 megapixel main sensor the 14 Pros have. I don't think the SE would ever get that, to be honest, and definitely don't expect any major camera upgrades with this SE4. Ultimately, I think the hardware is going to be identical on this, it's just the A16 and the software upgrades that will enhance the camera ever so slightly, but of course, it's still going to be behind higher end iPhones. Now regarding the 10R being a good phone, I do agree with that. It's a solid device, but I think SE consumers would appreciate something smaller, and of course, that would help Apple upsell consumers to the higher end models because they know the 6.1 inch size is perfect for many consumers. And yeah, if I'm being honest, we have too many 6.1 inch iPhones, and so we don't need another one with the SE4 in my opinion. So Malik says, why can't they make the SE4 like the new iPads with the new colours? And yeah, I really hope Ross is wrong about the colours and we get much more vibrant fun colours instead. In fact, if this is based on the 10R, then the colours from that would be fantastic, so Apple do reuse those instead of giving us the regular black, white and red. Anyways, that's about it, but of course, tell me your thoughts regarding this in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video above on details regarding the M2 iPad Pros, and on that note, see ya peeps.